Welcome back to the Morning Show here on Arise News. Joining us now to review some of the headlines in today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Efeni. Good morning, Emmanuel.
Good morning, Emmanuel.
Good morning, OG.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ruben.
Yeah.
The lady in red.
You always like when I wear red.
Yes,
I noticed that. I'll wear one tomorrow as well.
Okay. Let's start with these, the newspapers. Atiku cries to EU. WEF says federal government intimidating political opponents. PDP reiterates lack of confidence in INEC. Insists on Amina's resignation. Foreign observers consult with stakeholders. The Daily Sun has similar headline. As EU meets opposition party leaders, that's the Daily Sun, our fears for 2019 elections. We can't trust INEC, PDP. Your fears unfounded, baseless, says APC, INEC. Well, the PDP, they've been on this for some time, especially in the wake of the election in Ekiti and Osun. They've been questioning the independence of the Independent National Electoral Commission, as well as the independence of the security agencies, which they believe, rightly or wrongly, that they seem to be working with the ruling party. They expect these agencies to be neutral.
In recent times. And one, I think, in terms of principle, I think is in order for everybody, not just the PDP, other political stakeholders, to hold the feet of INEC to the fire.
Right.
And to insist not just on the independence of INEC, but also on the capacity of INEC to deliver free, fair, and credible elections. Now, at issue here has been the role of the former director of operations in INEC, who is said to be a relative of President Buhari.
President Buhari.
And there have been concerns that in that position, there's been some kind of misgivings, some kind of conflict in terms of our filial loyalty and the discharge of our responsibilities. But I think, again, this is something, normal that Nigerians do. They say once somebody is your family relative, whether that person is competent or not, there are fears, also about ethnicity and all of that. Then the lady, in the aftermath of the Osun elections, was moved from operations to welfare, or is it health? And even now, the PDP is insisting that she should remove completely from INEC. That's one point. The second point that has been raised is the tweet by Matthew Page, on Twitter, that even the husband of the head of the Court of Appeal is a member of the APC. So this is about symbolism. This is about signaling. And it's also in the same manner that people complain that the security agencies that are in charge of the elections are also headed by persons who are, from the same geographical region as the president. I think that the president himself caused this problem. He has put in sensitive positions, one way or the other, maybe perhaps with the exception of the judiciary, persons who are either his relatives or are associated with him, and the opposition is now throwing all of this up. But the key issue that all of us should focus on is that, look, INEC has a responsibility to conduct a free and fair election, and that the anxieties about, the kith and kin politics that the APC has been playing, the reign of nepotism under President Buhari's watch, should not in any way compromise the integrity of the electoral process that we all look forward to.
Long and short of the matter, INEC must demonstrate its fairness, neutrality.
Yes.
It must be seen
And
to be so.
Yes.
Above suspicion.
Correct.
Like Caesar's wife.
Like Caesar's wife.
INEC must live above board. I think let's leave it there and move to the Guardian newspaper, Nigeria's The Guardian. Federal Executive Council okays 8.7 trillion 2019 budget estimate. Approves 63 billion for Lagos-Badagry Semi-Border Road. Senate probes 2018 budget implementation, 2.7 billion euro bond. If the Senate is probing 2018 budget implementation, I think they should also look at themselves. You know how long it took before that budget was passed. And it is a no-brainer that you cannot do so much with that budget. Now that the budget for 2019 is before the National Assembly, I think they should also ensure that they do better than they did last time around.
Well, I mean, under this government, we've always had the promise that the budget will be delivered within a record time. But that has never happened, majorly for political reasons, majorly for the crisis of intra-governmental relations that we have had. And on account of that, it's the Nigerian people who are shortchanged, because budget performance in the last 3.5 years has not even grown up to 20%. And when you have that kind of low budget performance,
Quite poor.
That's
a poor mark.
You'll not be able to make any difference.
That's failure in any examination,
yes, so
20%.
The political will that we speak of, therefore, in terms of service delivery, is not just on the part of the executive, but also on the part of the legislature.
Yes.
You know, but with both parties playing the ostrich.
Yes. You have an
Nigerians are
story on
short-sighted.
The Nation.
Yes. Right? Yes, the Nation's lead story. Our decisions on primaries final, APC tells protesters. But let's just look at some other newspapers reporting this same APC crisis. The Punch, you are bad losers, APC tells Amosun, DG of the Voice of Nigeria, others. I was deceived and defrauded by APC. Defecting members cried out. Then the Vanguard newspaper, party crisis. Amosun, Okorocha, Yari, bad losers, says APC. Primaries expose Oshomole's incompetence, says Governor Akeredolu. I will join women to protest naked in Abuja,
so that was in the
says
Ogun
Deputy Governor. Oji,
the way you are emphasizing naked. What was the purpose of that special emphasis?
Is that still an option in protesting? No, I'm asking Oji, because these are women.
Sounding like we want to go to Abuja to witness that protest.
I mean, why would anyone want to protest naked? I mean, just a protest is a protest. You don't have to dramatize
it's a cultural
it.
thing.
It used to be an African way of protesting.
You know, in Africa, when women, you know, when they protest naked.
Yes,
you know,
I know it's cultural.
Yeah, it's like placing a curse, you know, on the target of their protest.
Yeah, but we hope they will not get to that. They won't get to that. You know? But the crisis in APC is festering. It's not about to go away. And I don't think the party is handling the crisis the right way.
Well, Efeni, I don't know whether you watched the session with
Lanre Issa Onilu.
Lanre Issa Onilu is saying that there's no crisis, that all is well and fine with the ruling party.
Well, you cannot play the ostrich with crisis like this because it's out there. Party members are crying, party chieftains are condemning the situation, and you are saying nothing is happening. Well, we hope a tornado will not sweep some people out of that National Working Committee as the governors are planning. Some governors are planning, APC governors.
Let's take some international
Yes.
stories.
Now let's go to the UK. Daily Mail. Our police can't cope, warn MPs. Yes. Officers, members, number down. Crime up. Budget slashed. Claim, damning report warns forces becoming irrelevant. And the statistics from that report that the state of policing in England and Wales is quite appalling right now. In 3 years to March this year, crime reported to police went up 32% to 5.5 million. But in terms of actual summons and investigation, it was just 26%, which means a number of crimes were not investigated, but were not followed up, did not find their way to court. So persons who are affected in such situation are saying, what is the use of police and policing? So that is the situation, and it's something the Parliament is also worried about, because this report, the Home Affairs Committee of the Parliament, they released that report on the crime situation in the UK. So it's a serious matter. But let's take another story that should interest every reader and watcher of this program. Daily Express. Statins raises risk of diabetes. New study reveals perils of pills taken by millions. Statins are a class of drugs used to treat high cholesterol.
Okay.
Yes, and it's often used, but it has serious side effects. And this new report is saying that it even leads to diabetes.
Is it contained in any other drug, or is it just for on the drugs that is used to treat cholesterol?
No, there are a group of drugs used to treat high cholesterol.
High cholesterol.
And it works by lowering the bad cholesterol. You need some cholesterol.
Bad cholesterol.
Yes, lowering the bad cholesterol. Those
so it's just the
artery
people that
blocking
are,
cholesterol.
It's just the people that are at risk of bad cholesterol that are at
yes,
risk
it's
of
something
there
that
are
is
two
usually
categories of
cholesterol.
You have bad cholesterol, you have
The
good
good
cholesterol.
Yes.
If you have high cholesterol.
No, I'm talking about the actual drug that you're taking. So
no, there are a group of drugs.
It's
a group of drugs used to lower the bad cholesterol for those who already have high bad cholesterol. And it's a warning to one and all, because there are other ways of lowering cholesterol.
But you know, on this program, we have taken some stories in the past dealing with diet, obesity,
yes. In fact, diet
and the implications for
right diet.
NHIS funding. You know, I think that I like the fact that, you know, in the United Kingdom, there is a special focus on health and lifestyle.
Yes.
You know, and maybe there are lessons there that our governments, you know, in the developing world can learn from the kind of proactiveness, you know, that you have in some of these developed countries.
But more importantly, everybody should be conscious.
Yeah.
Health conscious, watch what you eat.
Right. Thank you so
Exercise
much.
regularly.
Right. Thank you so much. This was such a good segment. Thank you very much, Emmanuel, for joining us. It's time now for a short break.